Hey, welcome back to Russ Sorter Garage, and welcome to part 3 of the 2002 5.3 Mule experiment. So what have we done so far? Well, we started the engine with fuel injection and the $40 eBay harness and verified that this engine has low oil pressure. So that has to be looked at. Then we put the carburetor on there and ran it with the factory LS PCM with an adjusted tune, of course, and ran it with that PCM and the carb. So that was pretty cool. So now we have to go back and see if we can figure out what the oil pressure issue is. I am hoping it is something simple. So I think the first thing we'll do is drain the oil and drain it through a strainer just to make sure there's no metal sparklies and stuff in that. Because I don't think the engine's hurt, but I guess we'll find out. Then drop the pan, and my biggest hope is that it's just the oil pump pickup O-ring is shot, because this thing's putting out about 10 pounds at idle. You give a little bit of throttle, and you make it up to 20. And of course, you get the lifters clatter and such. So I don't want to hurt the engine. I don't want to push it too hard, but it sure seems like it's acting like a small block Chevy that dropped the oil pump pickup in the pan or something. You know, of course, we know that shouldn't be able to happen here. So I'm hoping it's just the O-ring on the pickup tube and nothing more serious, but that's where we're going to start. So let's drain the oil and go from there. All right, so rather than turn the engine upside down right now, I think I'd rather do this with the engine right side up. Because if it's not a big deal to fix, then we can put the oil right back in and fire it right back up. I'm just going to get the starter out of the way. So that's not a problem. I'll set it up here. All right, so the oil hopefully is clean. I got a paint filter here I'm going to use to try to strain this oil as it comes out. And you won't be able to see it, but I'm going to try to do this without making a total mess if I can. And it looks like I'm going to make a mess because it's coming out faster than the filter. Shoot. Oh, no. Oh, no. Time for speedy dry. Okay, well, the speedy dry is down. Unfortunately, the filter seemed like a good idea, but flow rate was not up to the task. So now I'm going to try to get the rest of it out. I don't know how much is left. I put a good amount on the ground. Hopefully the funnel is up to the task. This time I'm going to hold the drain plug in hand here in case things start getting out of control. I think we're going to be okay now. All right, I covered up the murder scene with cardboard, and now I'm just going to make sure all the bolts are a little bit loose before I come back with the impact. So I just want to make sure they all turn okay. Nothing feels stripped. Those rear ones are always the scary ones. The ones that go into rear timing cover because they cannot be tight. All right, all the bolts are out except for two, I think. One on each side. And then it should be coming down. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be stuck. And then I can just give it a tap and get it down. No, that's it. It's gonna come down. Just like that. All right, so now, where's that bolt? I'm gonna try to hold this up. Get the last two out. That should be it. And we put down here. Gasket. Still oil in there for sure. My bad thing is I did want to try to reuse this gasket at least for our testing. Because if we fix this engine, it's going to get an eBay oil pan. Alright, so first thing, just observation, this is not a factory oil pan gasket. Probably like a Felpro because I see blue on it, but could be an eBay pan gasket, who knows. But the thing is, it's not riveted to the oil pan, and as far as I know, all factory gaskets were riveted to the pan, so that's that. So next, let's get this oil pump pickup tube out of here. All right, so there's a brace holding it to the windage tray. Get that off of there. I can see it. Okay. And then there's just the one 10mm bolt into the oil pump. Factory pump. I'm not going to use that. See how this feels. All right. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's just one. Oh, it has a, my mistake. There is a second mount on this pickup right here. Guess I'm just used to the eBay pans. All right, it's out. All right, let's get a look at the O-ring. It came out pretty easily. It's very loose on here. This is a green O-ring. This is the wrong, oh no, it's got the relief. This O-ring just feels too big. You can tell what O-ring you need by the style of the pickup here. But I thought the early engines used the black O-ring, although there is a little bit of a relief on this tube. But this O-ring is partially torn. It's got a piece of it sticking up there. And it's very loose on this pickup. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, it's flat for sure. We're going to replace it and see what the new one feels like on there. All right, cleaned up the O-ring a little bit. There is a chunk out of it. See that? That can't be good. Is it enough to give us almost no oil pressure? I don't know. Let me go get a get a new O-ring, and I'm gonna do a little research and just double check that this uses the green O-ring, because I thought the early engines just used the black O-ring. All right, so here's what we're gonna go with, and pretty much what I remembered is correct. If you have a pickup tube with the recess in it like that, it uses a thicker O-ring, and that would be that green O-ring. But the green O-ring is flat, has chunks out of it, and fits loosely. The replacement that I have is a orange O-ring. That part number, Rock Auto says that's what you're supposed to use with this vehicle, so seems to line up. The black O-ring for the flat style pickup that doesn't have the recess, it's a much thinner O-ring. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to give this a shot. All right, I've got the O-ring on there with some oil. See how this fits. Tough to see. That went in. Seemed kind of easy, actually, which is not necessarily a good thing. I don't know about that. Kind of fit pretty easy into that oil pump. But, I mean, the other O-ring did have cuts in it, so hopefully that's the fix. All right, I'm going to put this oil pan back on with that gasket, and it's going to leak. I know it's going to leak. I just know it. That didn't work. Oh no. I know the pan's going to leak because this gasket's obviously being reused. It's not a factory gasket, and it looks pretty beat. So, you know, just the fact that it's not a factory gasket, somebody's been in here before. Don't know why. Did they replace that oil pan pickup O-ring and screw it up? I don't know. All I know is somebody has definitely been in this engine before, and who knows what all was done to it. But I'll bolt it up, go from there. All right, oil pan's back on. I dumped the oil back in, put it through the strainer, didn't see anything. All right, here goes nothing. Fuel pump's on. unfortunately, the oil pump O-ring, despite being damaged, was not the fix. We still have low oil pressure. So there's only a couple things, well, there's a few things, but a couple probable things that could be the issue now. Catastrophic or not catastrophic. I know the barbell is in the oil system, but I don't know. I don't know how that could cause this low of an oil pressure. Maybe it could. I don't know. But I'm not going to think about the barbell right now, and I'm not going to be able to get the rear cover off anyway on the engine stand. The two things I'm thinking it could be now are either stuck bypass in the oil pump. If it's stuck open, that could bleed off the oil pressure. Or the catastrophic problem of walking a cam bearing. So next thing I'm going to end up doing is taking the pan back off, removing the carburetor, removing the harness, flipping the engine over, getting the windage tray off, and looking from the top to see if we've walked a cam bearing. If there's any cam bearings that are sticking out of their bores at all, then we know that's the problem, and basically it's a parts engine. Yes, I could take it apart and replace the cam bearings and such, but if we do that, it'll be in the future. It's not going to be now. Other things to do. So let's get started with that, and hopefully all the cam bearings look good. If that's the case, we'll take the oil pump out, take the front cover off the oil pump without touching anything, and look and see if the relief is stuck open. All right, that only took about 10 minutes. Get the thing stripped back down. Nice having it on engine stand. Oil's drained. I'm just going to drop the pan, flip it over, and I'll bring you back. We'll pull the windage tray, and that'll be the first thing to look at. Look down in there and see if we see any cam bearing issues. All right, I think we're ready to roll this over. See if I can do it. This engine stand's pretty beat. Yeah, right. All right, I'm going to pull the windage tray, and then we'll see if we're going to be pulling the oil pump or putting the pan back on and pushing this in the corner for another day. Get the pickup tube off with our brand new O-ring. All right, try not to make a total mess with this. All right, windage tray. Unfortunately, we're done here. Let's see if I can zoom in down there. See that down there? That's a cam bearing. And you can just barely see the oil feed hole on the bearing. That is not where it was supposed to be. Try to get you a better shot at it. It's hard to get light in there, and the counterweight is right here. You can see it right there. There you go. And the oil feed hole there, you can see the oil feed hole right at the top there. Not where it's supposed to be. Yeah, we pushed the number 3 cam bearing. Well, that is definitely not what I was hoping to find. I was hoping we had a stuck fuzz from the rags. I was hoping we had a stuck bypass on the oil pump. Not the case. And apparently this is not an isolated incident. Seems to be kind of common. Number 3 cam bearing. It doesn't mean the block is junk. Could put new cam bearings in and just use the green Loctite to hold it in place, and supposedly that's good enough. Some people pin them. I'm not sure quite how they do that, but bottom line is this engine is not going to get a cam put in it. That's for sure. At least not now. So I'm going to put the pan back on it, and I'm not going to throw it away. I'll put it in the corner. I said the engine itself is good, so you know, maybe in the future we'll do a cam bearing install just for the fun of it. I haven't done cam bearings on an LS. I haven't done cam bearings in decades. I've done them on small block, big block Chevys, but not in forever. Not in forever. So we'll keep it, put it in the corner. It's not a terrible loss. I mean, this engine basically was free. I mean, it didn't cost me $1 for the engine coming out of that donor. It was great for testing. We got to test the carburetor on here, which is fantastic because now I know that works. So that was really worth doing. And, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Now, this does not mean I will not be doing a cam install, because I have a 6-liter outside in an Escalade. Ooh, look at that. Just pulled that out of the garage door. When you use a wire wheel, that's why you wear eye protection. These things go everywhere. Anyway, as I was saying, I have a 6-liter that I'm going to put in my 71 Nova. That one is 71? I got a few Novas. 72. Maybe it's a 72 Nova. I don't remember. It's a 71 or a 72 Nova. We're going to put a 6-liter in it. We're going to put a T56 6-speed in it. We're going to put a sloppy stage 2, whatever you want to call it, the Elgin 1840 cam in it. So we will be doing a cam. That engine has good oil pressure. At least I believe it does. So I don't think we'll have this problem. So we will see that come together in the future. Doesn't mean it's the next build, but you'll find out about that soon enough. All right, so I'll slap this garbage back together, get it off the stand, put it in the corner somewhere, and like I said, the parts are here for my air conditioning for the 56 Chevy pickup, so I'd like to get back on that. And yeah, we'll do that. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for following along, and thank you very much for subscribing. I'm going back out in the cold now. See ya.